He's House Oversight and Reform Ranking Member. He's Congressman James Comer. Congressman, it's always wonderful to have you on. We like your insights. Could this constitutional fight over vaccine mandates head to the Supreme Court?
I hope so. I have confidence in this Supreme Court, and I've said from day one that federal mandates would do more harm than good, and I think we're seeing that. With respect to what Southwest is saying, I was at the Fort Lauderdale airport this weekend, and there were many airlines that had a footprint there, but only Southwest were canceled. So when they say it was the weather, I can speak with confidence in Fort Lauderdale. It wasn't the weather with American or Spirit or any of the other airlines. It was just Southwest. So clearly from the people that I've spoken with at Southwest Airlines, they're frustrated with management. And this is just another thing that Joe Biden has done that's caused more harm than good.
You know, the Biden vaccine mandate is not even out yet. It's not even written yet, but it's causing walkouts nationwide. We're seeing in airlines, health industry, law enforcement, possibly even the military. The problem is this: the 1905 Supreme Court ruling says only the states have the power to do mass vaccinations. It belongs locally to the states, not centralized federal government. This is a government overreach. It violates the 10th Amendment. And you know this, too. We've talked about it. The 2012 Obamacare SCOTUS ruling. Supreme Court says you can't regulate effectively. Vaccines cannot be regulated as interstate commerce. It's a personal choice, like buying medical insurance. So it's sort of like, will this thing fall apart? What do you say?
I think it'll fall apart. And if you'll remember, when Joe Biden came out with the federal mandate, that was at the same time that the Afghanistan debacle was happening. And I believe that this was part of his strategy to try to pivot and get the mainstream media off his back, because for the first time in his political career, the liberal media was hounding. And he came up with this federal mandate, and it's done nothing but create more labor shortages, not just in the airlines, but in healthcare and all the industries where we need essential workers. You've got private employers that are trying to comply with what they believe is a federal mandate, and the employees just aren't having it. It's a matter of freedom, and I think that again, Joe Biden's done more harm than good. Anyone that's out there that's still debating whether or not to take the vaccine, they're seeing the behavior and the inconsistency of the Biden administration. They're just not going to do it.
That's a heck of a way to change a negative headline on Afghanistan, to do a crackdown like that. Right. You see, Americans' trust in the president's handling of COVID-19 continues to slide. We've had smallpox, mumps, measles vaccines, but those are run by the states, not centralized federal government. OSHA only has 800 labor inspectors to handle inspections of tens of millions of businesses nationwide, but now the Democrats want something like $2.6 billion for OSHA and for the Labor Department to basically enforce the president's vaccine mandate on businesses. Up to $700,000 fines they're talking about.
It's crazy. The Democrats want to continue to grow government. They want to continue to feed the bureaucracy when all they need to do to help the economy is to get out of the way. And again, with the mandates, they're doing more harm than good with respect to vaccine hesitancy.
Okay, let's go to this. GOP Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he's calling this bullying by the Biden White House. He's banning all COVID-19 vaccine mandates inside the state of Texas. That means tech giants, Facebook, Google, American Airlines, United Airlines. They may have to take back and rescind their vaccine mandates on thousands of workers in Texas. We've got that fight going on. But we also have this story as well, and it's an important one. People are quitting their jobs at a big rate. 4.3 million quit their jobs in August. And there's that, and there's also this. Watch Joshua Yoder. He's a co-founder of U.S. Freedom Flyers. He was with Tucker Carlson last night. He warned that the vax mandate could cause workers to be fired en masse. Watch this.
If you have flights reduced by 30% because 30% of pilots are fired because they won't take the vaccine, this is going to affect how your goods get here from overseas, how they're distributed to the stores. You know, the same thing's happening with the truckers. It's happening in the shipping industry. Those Amazon boxes that typically show up in 2 days, you might be looking at 3 weeks. As far as I'm concerned, I will never promote a sick out or a work action. That is illegal. With U.S. Freedom Flyers, the organization that I'm with, we will never promote such a thing. With that being said, we also cannot control the actions of individuals. And I think that you will see massive disruptions in supply chain and in your travel if we just stand up and say no.
Congressman, you know, we've had scientists on, we've had congressmen on, they've said vaccines work. they work. It's just the way it's being carried out. You know what I mean? That a centralized federal government when the states were doing it in the past. Your final word on this?
I agree completely with you, Liz. I think vaccines work, but again, Joe Biden's doing more harm than good. If he would take and run the country like he ran his campaign and just sit in his basement with the windows closed and not talk to anyone all day, the United States would be better off. Every time he comes out with a new proposal, it backfires. We have a labor shortage, and it's only getting worse because of these federal mandates.